So last time we saw that basically what death has done is revealed the luminous Satyavan. The true Satyavan, the luminous Satyavan, who was covered in the gross physical, in the mortal sheaths. All those things have gone away, and you see now pure, bright, brilliant Satyavan alone. See. In fact, the main interest of Yama or death is keeping that luminous person of you or of us with him. He is not interested in any other thing. Therefore, we have here in the story narrated by Shebendo, Satyavan is the soul carrying the divine truth of being within itself, but descended into the grip of death. It is that luminous Satyavan who is actually in the grip of death. And it is that now which we see here fully under the sway of death. He cannot do anything at all. Whatever now death wants him to do, that he has to do, he must do. You see. So that way he is totally in the grip of death. And Savitri's task is to loosen that grip, to remove that grip, free him of that grip. So the entire sequence now which is going to follow is the work of Savitri in removing that grip of death which is there on the soul of Satyavan, on this luminous Satyavan, you see. Therefore, we have got on either side of one, two spirits draw. One, that is the luminous Satyavan. On one side is death, Yama, on the other side is Savitri. And they are now going to fight. The battle is between Yama and Savitri, between death and Savitri. In the beginning, at this point, there is no battle really, in the sense that they are standing now opposed to each other, like two armies ready to get into fight, into quarrel fight. Therefore, silence, battle with silence. Silence, battle with silence, you see. He is not doing anything, she is also not doing anything. The conch has not been blown yet. When it is blown, Shankadhvani comes, then the battle begins, you see. Vast with vast. Now, this silence has a vastness, brahat, wideness. It is Yama's vastness of the entire cosmic plane, Savitri's of the transcendental land. So it is these two brahats, they are now going to battle against each other. Silence, battle with silence. But now the impulse of the path was felt. Impulse of the path was felt, as I told you last time. By whom? Impulse was felt by the one around whom are standing these two spirits. It means that the impulse of the path was felt by Satyavan. At this point, death is not telling anything. He is standing there, the spirit of Satyavan has come out, Savitri is there on the other side. But by the very law of things, by the very nature of things, by the way the mechanisms operate here, he cannot but feel the impulse of the path. He has to move on. He has absolutely no hold now on his physical body which is lying there under the tree. He cannot do anything at all. He has to move on, you see. Moving from the silence that supports the stars to touch the confines of the visible world. You have the spirit of Satyavan here, the flame, Behind him is the dark figure of Yama with the red tiara on his head, and here is Savitri on the other side. So on either side, two spirits. In the middle, the spirit of Satyavan, the spirit of Satyavan, and behind is the spirit of Yama or death, and on the other side is Savitri, the Rishi. You can see Savitri is altogether different here, and although the features of Yama are not distinct, so to say, as we have got the features of Savitri here, but even that darkness which is there of him is very living, very vibrant, very descriptive. It tells who I am, you see, particularly the red tiara on his head, you see. This red thing on his head, you see. Now, when these paintings were made by Kota, mother used to draw the sketches. Of course, she did not draw the sketches of all the paintings. See, there are about 468 paintings in all, and I think the mother has drawn the sketches of only 250 of that, you see. Yeah, a little more than half, yeah. But at the same time, she used to give indications or suggest what color should be used where. This red, this blue, this, etc., etc. She used to indicate to Huta, this color here, this color here, this color here. Sometimes she has marked also on the sketches with this color, with this color, like that, you see. So here, but now the impulse of the path was felt, moving from the silent supposed town to touch the confines of the visible world. Luminous, he moved away. So now from the center, he is advancing. He is moving from there. Behind him, how? Now the procession starts. Behind him, death. So luminous Satyavan is there. Behind him is death. Behind death is Savitri. So in other words, between the spirit of Satyavan and Savitri, death is standing. Between the role of death is to separate the lovers. This is what he is completing now. See, luminous he moved away. Behind him, death went slowly with his noiseless tread, as seen in dream fields, a shadowy husband glides behind some wanderer from his voiceless home. And Savitri moved behind eternal death. Her mortal pace was equal with the gods. Her mortal pace was equal with the gods. God, that is, of course, Yama, death. She is moving along with him in that. Now, that is the great occult yogic siddhi of Savitri, that she can walk in the steps of the God. She can move behind him. She is not falling behind like that, you see. Wordless, she travelled in her lover's steps, planting her human feet where his had trod, into the perilous silences beyond. So where are they going? They are going into the perilous silences, into the black void they are entering now. That is the realm of Yama, of death. In the traditions, the realm of death is in the south, Dakshina. He is in the south. Yama's house is in the south. So for each god, there are different houses in different places. Yama's house in the south. But here, of course, the poet is not telling us about where the location of this beyond is, whether it is in south or north or east or west, you see, you don't know from here. It's just beyond, which also means that it is all pervasive. It is there everywhere. When you lose contact with the divine, you are everywhere then, in the perilous beyond. It is not necessary in the south that way, you see. See, in our traditions, the Indian tradition, the Puranas also say that the house, Dakshina, Yama's house is in the south, Dakshina. And therefore, when you are sleeping in the night, you are not supposed to point your legs to the south. A dead body, when it is kept there, it is laid on the floor or on the cot or wherever it is, with the feet pointing towards south. He has to walk to the south, you see. And the perilous silences beyond. So actually, in a way, when Shivandu's Samadhi was to be put in the Samadhi, Shivandu's body was to be put in the Samadhi, people started saying his feet should be pointing to the south. Now they are to the west. His head is on the east, and Mother ruled it out, you see. It does not apply to him at all, you see. It was ruled out, you see.
Humanizing the divine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So his head is on the east and his feet are on the south. And of course, in the upper chamber also in the same way.
That's not even this void is towards the inconscient. This black void up there, this way. Like if you imagine the space.
No, he says beyond. He does not specify the place, the direction.
So beyond means beyond.
Beyond everywhere. Beyond the yeah. So in other words, if you lose, that is what I was telling you. If you lose the contact with the divine, then everywhere it is a black void.
Except without divine is a black void.
Yeah, obviously. So you can't specify here or there or there. Yeah. At first, in a blind stress of words, she moved. So Savitri is now moving, you see. At first, in a blind, because he says she planted her human feet along with the feet of God, you see. So she is now moving. At first, in a blind stress of words, she moved with strange inhuman places on the soil, journeying as if upon an unseen road. Now it is strange inhuman paces on this soil. She is still walking on this soil, so to say. But with what feet? Inhuman feet. Therefore, you have here blind stress of woods. Rather this phrase, stress of woods. Only a master who has a very, very thorough knowledge of English can use such a phrase. Stress of wood.
What does it mean?
Only Shivandu can use it, and most appropriate, you see. What does it mean? Okay, yeah. So I thought I was going to explain. See, in English there is also a phrase, stress of weather. You say stress of weather. For instance, the ship is there on the sea. Suddenly the weather has become bad. So in that condition what happens? The ship comes back to the shore. The weather, there is the stress of weather. Pressure, constraint, limitation, imposition of that. And therefore the ship comes back. An army is marching, it reaches a marshy land. It cannot move further at all. So there is a stress of the surroundings come back. Here it is the stress of wood. Means Savitri is coming out of her physical body. All these trees, branches, leaves, everything are as if kind of obstructing her passage. They are obstructing her passage, you see. Physically, she is of course a small person, but now everything around her, her physical now is experiencing kind of a pressure, obstruction of all those things there around, you see. The subtle body has widened so much that the presence of the physical objects is coming in the way of the movement. Only a master can write such a phrase, you see. Stress supports. And of course, blind, that is understandable, you see. Stress supports, she moved. You feel the physical obstruction of movement while going. It happens to yogis also when they come out of their physical body and start moving around. All the trees, plants, buildings, men, whatever it is there, crowd, is a kind of an obstruction to them.
There's always something. It's never
The physical body, the subtle body feels the pressure of all those things, obstruction.
But there's always something.
Yeah, but then, but still is there at this point, you see, at this point. So she is feeling that, you see, stress supports, she moved. Means, basically it means that the constraint which is put by the woods is coming in the way of her free movement. She would have liked to go and fly away like that, you see. It happens many times, people do yoga, they come out of the physical body. So, they really come out of the physical body, in the room is there, and from above they watch their body lying there below. And then they go from here to there like this, move around in the air like that, you see. But then they cannot go out of the room. The wall is there to obstruct their going out of the room, you see. So that's an experience, you see. It happens. So the stress supports she moved. In other words, see the occult details with which every little aspect is presented here. With strange, inhuman paces, inhuman. Again, another difficult word. Paces, of course, we can say. Strange, we can understand. Paces, inhuman. Now, inhuman is not unhuman. There is a difference between unhuman and inhuman, you see. Essentially, what it means that inhuman means which is not human. Normally, when you say inhuman, it means cruel, harsh, difficult, you see, that kind of a thing, inhuman. It is not that sense. Inhuman means which is not human. Here, the sense is which is not human. 3.18. In the close beauty of the inhuman wise. You see, same thing. He is described, inhuman wise. Absolutely, he has not forgotten what he had written earlier, you see, in the first part, you see, inhuman wise. 3.18. Around him crowded grey and squalid huts, neighboring proud palaces of perverted power, inhuman quarters and demoniac wars. Now here, inhuman means cruel, harsh, demoniac, you see. So you have to understand the context in which these phrases here. Of an implacable eternity of pain, inhuman and intolerable. Which is not really human made, which is very cruel, very harsh, extreme, you see. Inhuman forest, far from cheerful sound. This is what we are seeing here. This is the inhuman forest, you see. 114.12. Many inhuman solitudes came close. With strange inhuman paces on the soil. This is what we are seeing now at the moment, you see. A huge, inhuman, cyclopean voice. This means which is not human, which is cruel, cyclopean here. In contrast to that, you have unhuman. There are two occurrences of word unhuman. Out of the world's immense unhuman past, which is not human, before man came into existence, before man arrived on the scene, tracked memories and ageless remnants came of the deep, deep past before the arrival of man. That is unhuman. In nature's green, unhuman solitudes, means there is no human being at all here. And the blind murmur of primal calm. Savitri is asking Satyavan, why you are living in the unhuman loneliness, where there is no habitation, where are no people, you are a youth, you look like a prince, why you are living in this unhuman condition? You don't have friends, you don't have people as you deserve. And Satyavan replied, etc., etc. With strange, inhuman paces on the soil, journeying as if upon an unseen road. Obviously, Savitri is journeying for the first time, journeying without seeing me. Around her, on the green and imaged earth, the flickering screen of forest ringed her steps. So while she is walking now, the forest is ringing with her steps. Savitri's steps are now kind of echoing in the entire forest. Flickering screen, so the whole thing is flickering vibrantly. Ringed screen. Its thick, luxurious obstacles, you see now he makes it clear. Luxurious obstacles of boughs, the branches of trees, they are becoming an obstacle. They are very rich forest. It stands for?
On the first line.
No, imaged earth. No, around her on the green imaged earth, the flickering screen. Its thick, luxurious obstacle of boughs besieged her body, pressing dimly through in a rich realm of whispers palpable, and all the murmurous beauty of the leaves rippled around her like an emerald robe. So the whole warms, the rustling sound of the leaves, as if it is a kind of a robe now to Savitri, you see. Rippled around her like an emerald robe, the green leaves making a robe for Savitri. But more and more this grew an alien sound. She is listening now because she is still very intimately connected with the surroundings. She has come out of her physical body. She is in the Sukshma Deha, the subtle body, and the subtle body is feeling that thing. But as she will start moving away from that, then this will go at the back. But more and more this grew an alien sound. So the dear earth, this forest, which are familiar to her, they are now becoming strangers, aliens. Alien sound. And her old intimate body seemed to her a burden which her being remotely bore. So even her physical body, which is lying there now, that itself has become. I mean, there is a kind of a connection, contact between the physical body and Savitri's subtle body, you see. It is that now. A burden which her being remotely bore. She was now bearing still, you see. So actually, normally, in fact, in most of the cases, the advice is always that when you are coming out of your physical body, there should be somebody to guard it. There should be present. You can come out of your body, but the physical body now, which is having no contact with that, should be guarded by somebody. In this case, there is nobody guarding the physical body of Savitri at all. And that is important also. That is why the death has taken place in the lonely forest, in the inhuman forest, so that there is no other interference at all from anybody between the physical body and the subtle body which is gone. If by chance the contact is snapped between the physical body and the subtle body, the person is dead. He cannot come back at all. He cannot come back at all. So that is why the occult reason why the death should occur in the forest is that Savitri should be able to come out without her physical body being guarded by anybody around her. Otherwise, all the people there weeping, crying, shouting, tantrums, she there after the death. So she cannot do her occult yoga at all, you see. Therefore, the death has to take place in the lonely forest. You see. It is a necessity. In fact, that is why the destined place, destined meeting place, destined place for death also. Rippled round her like an emerald robe, but more and more this grew an alien sound, and her old intimate body seemed to her a burden which her being remotely bore. So that sthula deha, that gross physical, is becoming now burdensome. She has to keep aside and move. Herself lived far in some uplifted scene, where to the transient vision of pursuit, soul presences in a high, spaceless dream, the luminous spirit glided stilly on, and a grey shadow travelled way behind. Now the scene is moving here towards Satyavan and death. Soul presence in a high, spaceless dream. This is a dream actually, the whole thing. The luminous spirit, that is Satyavan, glided stilly on. He cannot but move. In fact, it is not in his control at all. He is sleeping. He has to glide down the valley into the void. Glided stilly on, and a grey shadow, that is Yama, travelled vague behind him. Still, with an amorous crowd of shaking hand, softly entreated by their old desire, her senses felt us close and gentle air. Savitri now, she is still in contact with that thing, and her senses felt us close and gentle air. That thing is still there in the case of Savitri. Cling round them, and in troubled branches knew uncertain treadings of a faint foot wind. The way the wind blows, that she is still feeling there. She bore dim fragrances. See, all the flowers which are there, fragrant flowers which are there, she is carrying them around here. Far callings touched the wild bird's voice, and its winged rustle came, as if a sigh from some forgotten world. So she is still remembering, she is there, but as if they are coming from some other world. See. Earth stood aloof, yet near. Savitri is still close to the earth. Round her, it wowed with sweetness. Round Savitri, earth. Wow, its sweetness and its greenness and its delight. So they are there still, kind of attractions, kind of allurements to Savitri to bring back. Its brilliance, soft, velvet, vivid hue, sunlight arriving to its golden noon, sunlight arriving to its golden noon. What a lovely phrase you see. Sunlight arriving. Actually, the whole thing is happening at noon, and the sunlight is there. So it is now Savitri in the practice in the most golden form there. See. And the blue heaven and the caressing soil. So everything is now kind of endearing Savitri, helping Savitri that way. See. The ancient mother offered to her child a simple word of kind, familiar thing. Ancient mother offered to her child, her ancient mother, child of course Savitri. Her simple word, the mother's simple word of kind, familiar. So all the trees, flowers, birds, everything, fragrance, everything, she is offering to Savitri, you see here. Ancient mother, who is ancient mother? Obviously the nature all around, Mother Earth. In fact, the phrase ancient mother appears number of times when you see that thing in Savitri. Heavy, unchanged, very still, imperfect work, 1935. Splendid youth of time has passed and failed. Now this is the play of Ashwapati to the Divine Mother. He is making prayer to her in book 3, canto 4. Heavy and long are the years our labor count, and still the seals are firm upon man's soul. And weary is the ancient mother's heart of the earth, of Mother Nature. Her heart is very, things are happening but not happening at all, you see. So that is the kind of an argument Ashwapati is making to the Divine Mother. So this is the first ancient mother here. Then we have got here, out of the ignorance, toil of the year, abandoning man's loud drama, he had come. He, Satyavan, to meet the ancient mother in a crowd. He grew up in the forest like a boy, young boy, and therefore he is in intimate contact with Mother Nature all around. In fact, he says that I have learned everything from her. So everywhere that ancient mother, that thing is there. The ancient mother faces all with joy. That is again from the Book of Fate. Here, the ancient mother clutched her child to her breast. Now, if you see the differences in all the other places, this A is small, except here. Here A is capital. The ancient mother clutched her child to her breast, 131.3. Now this is what we have seen already. Savitri was told to annul herself totally, Book 7, Canto 6, and she had practically dissolved into the Absolute. She would have gone away from this creation altogether. That would have been the laya, dissolution of Savitri into the absolute nothingness. She would have been lost to this creation. But Savitri cannot do that. It is the ancient mother who clutches her child back. Sorry, Savitri, you cannot go away like that. You have work to do here. How can you disappear? How can there be laya? You have to come back here and do the work. So she is clutching her back, the ancient mother, the Divine Mother herself, the Mother Earth. The ancient mother offered, this is what we are seeing now, just now, a simple child. And there is the last occurrence here. I will bear with him the ancient mother's load. I will follow with him. Earth leads to God. Savitri is telling to Yama, to death, look, I am here to carry out the load of the ancient mother. For her work I am here. See. So everywhere the ancient mother we can equate to Mother Nature, Mother Earth. The ancient mother offered to her child a simple world of kind, familiar things. But now, as if the body's sensuous whole, curving the Godhead of her infinite walk, Savitri would like to run fast, move on infinitely. But there is a kind of a curbing now of the body's sensuous will. She is feeling now the pressure of her part of the subtle physical which is close to the gross. Curving the Godhead of her infinite walk, had freed those spirits to their grander road across some boundaries intangible bound. The silent God grew mighty and remote in other spaces, and the soul she loved lost its consenting nearness to her. Now, the silent God, Yama has not spoken anything at all so far. He is silent. Well, actually he did speak, but he is, after picking the soul, he is moving on now. Grew mighty and remote. He has become unapproachable to Savitri. Savitri is feeling the constraint of the surroundings and all that thing. But Yama has no constraint of that kind. He can move very rapidly, very far. Savitri may not be able to follow them in their paces after some time. Therefore, in other spaces, and the soul she loved, that is Satyavan, lost is consenting. So the nearness which was there until now between them, that is now getting distant, getting lost. They are moving away very far from each other into a deep and unfamiliar air, enormous, windless, without stir or sound. They seem to enlarge away. They, Yama and death and Satyavan spirit, they seem to disappear. They are going out of the reach of Savitri. They are going out of the sight of Savitri. She may not be able to follow them because that physical nearness with the surrounding is still there, and that is curbing her movement, her rapidity. Drawn by some wide, pale distance from the warm control of her, and her grown far. So she is now trailing behind. Now they would escape. So, what a powerful line, see. They will be beyond the vision sight of Savitri. She may not be able to follow them at all, you see. But then at that time something happened, something most beautiful happened. Then, gleaming from her body's nest, alarmed, her warring spirit soared at Satyavan. Gleaming from her body's nest, like a bird resting in her body, she is coming out like a flame now from that. Alarmed, because now they would escape and she will not be able to follow them. Therefore she is alarmed and therefore she is flaming out like that. See? Flaming from her body's nest, alarmed. Now this flaming, we have the very phrase towards the end of Canto 2, Book 1, the issue. Last sentence, 4.48. Then flaming from her body's nest, alarmed, her warring spirit, Savitri soared at Satyavan. He says here, a flaming warrior from the eternal peaks. That is Savitri, you see. Flaming warrior, see. And here the flaming spirit, her body, is coming out from like that, you see. Empowered to force the door denied and closed, smote from death's visage the dumb absolute and burst the bounds of consciousness and time. So Savitri is coming out of that now, see. Human Satyavan. See, flaming. That's Satyavan, you see. Then flaming from her body's nest, alarmed, her warring spirit soared at Satyavan. Out with the plunge of heaven-surrounded rocks. Out with the plunge of heaven-surrounded rocks. So in a terror and wrath divine, she is angry, divinely angry. They are going away, and there is a kind of a divine anger. Divya Krodha, it is with that Divya Krodha she is coming out here. She cannot tolerate they are going away, you see. So with that Divya Krodha she is coming out, divine wrath, divine Divya Krodha. From her eyrie, so she is coming like a bird now. From her eyrie streams again the ascending death. She is climbing and she is now chasing. Indignant at his crouching point of steel, a fierce she-eagle, Savitri is a she-eagle, threatened in a brood. So somebody is attacking the brood, Savitri, born on a rush of puissance and a cry. So she is coming out with a force and a cry, outwinging like a mass of golden fire. That she-eagle is coming out like a huge fire, golden fire, mass fire. It is with that intensity, with that power, with that denseness, the force is coming out and rushing towards that thing, you see. Wrath divine. So in a terror and a wrath divine, there is a bit of description of wrath divine in William Blake's Tiger. You must have heard of the poem, Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. There, he speaks of wrath, anger. The pertinent stanza is here. He is describing who has fashioned your figure, such density, such fierceness, such cruelty, such fire. What kind of God has fashioned you? In which mold, in which smithy you were shaped, and that kind of thing. He is asking those questions to himself. And then he says, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? These are the lines pertaining to wrath divine. Wrath divine is basically here when the stars threw down their spears. In this line. In the general interpretation, people have not really understood what this line means. Most of the Greek scholars, they have not been able to explain this line, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. These two lines. But it is the remarkable insight of Amal Kiran, who interprets these two lines as the wrath divine of Christ. He is fighting against the angels who had turned opponents, who have become antagonists, fallen angels. And the fight is between Christ the warrior and those antagonists. These antagonists are described here as stars. When the stars threw down their spears, the fight is over, we give up, so they drop their spears. They surrender to Christ because of his divine wrath. He has overpowered them completely, he has subdued them, and they feel happy, they shed tears. Yes, the purpose for which we are here, that has been served. Our job is done, you see. So, it is that tiger in the form of, rather Christ in the form of the tiger who is being described here. Here, who has fashioned this tiger? God himself. And it is that God who is fighting against the antagonist powers, the hostile powers, the fallen angels, who are standing as enemies of God, you see. So it is a kind of a reference to that. So in a terror and a wrath divine, he comes out with that divine Divya Krodha, anger, see. From her iris stream again the ascending death, indignant at its crouching point to steal. So somebody is piercing. You see, the she-eagle there, she would like to protect her brood there. You see. She cannot accept. So Savitri's kiss is there. She would like to protect her husband's soul, Satyavan's soul, like that. She cannot accept. Fierce she-eagle, threatened in her brood, born on a rush of fusion. So she is now coming out with full force and cry, no, you cannot do that. That cries. Outwinging like a mass of golden fire. So on a spirit's flaming outer, again he says flaming, see, flaming outrush born, she crossed the borders of dividing. So what was coming in the way, you see, she was feeling the obstruction of all the surroundings. The forest, the trees, the bows, everything was there. She is now discarding them. She is coming out of it. Flaming out, she is coming out. That flame cannot, these obstructions cannot touch the flame. So, on a spirit's flaming onrush born, she crossed the borders. They were going away out of her sight. They were enlarging away, and Savitri would have missed them. But now she is coming out with full force from her body. So, no physical obstruction now is present for her. She crossed the borders of dividing sense. It is the dividing sense which suffers the gross and the subtle. So that is all gone now completely, you see. Like pale discarded sheets, He says not discarded sheaths. There are number of sheaths, gross and subtle. We classify as two general things, sukshma and jada, deha. But between them there are number of sheaths like that. One by one she is discarding them. So none of these sheaths now will experience the obstruction of the physical world. See. Sthula and sukshma, between them there are number of things like that. See, in fact there are mental sheaths there, the vital sheaths there, so many sheaths are there like that. Her mortal members fell back. So all that was now of this gross fell back from her soul. She is now completely free of her mortal members, and she can now really walk with them. A moment of a secret body is asleep. Her trance knew not of sun or earth or world. Thought, time and death were absent from her grasp. She knew not self. Forgotten was Savitri. She has forgotten herself totally who she is. Now only the flaming mass, that's all. Flaming mass. She
forgot herself.
She has forgotten who is Savitri after all. It is now some other power which is working there. Forgotten was Savitri, you see. Now, there is something, you see, very peculiar. You see, the whole language is so dense, impossible to explain, really speaking, you see. We can keep on making foolish attempts and try to understand the occult explanation. A moment of a secret body's sleep. It's a very complex phrase. She has now thrown away everything. She is free. Secret bodies sleep. Now, what does that mean? Is it the sleep of secret body? Secret means secret, does it stand for sleep or first body? Secret body sleep. Is it body sleep which is secret, or it is body having sleep, secret sleep? The secret sleep of the body. Is it secret sleep of the body? Secret sleep of the body, or it is the body sleep which is secret?
No, she's out of her body and the body is lying there on the floor.
No, Savitri is not the question. No, it's not that. Savitri is coming out of her. She is coming out of her gross physical body. So, see, these compounds are always puzzling. My interpretation that is that it is the body which is more important than the sleep. It is the body's secret sleep. Her physical secret sleep. It is not the secret sleep of the body. You see the difference? It is not the secret sleep of the body. It is the sleep, it is the body's secret sleep. In other words, this adjective I would put rather here before sleep. Body is secret. He doesn't say body is secret sleep, you see. So the poet can be extremely subtle. Yeah, this is true, yeah. Yeah.
He gives us enigmas.
Yeah. A moment of secret, body is asleep. It is the body which is important here. It is that, and it is secret sleep which is coming in the way of all her movements. You see. There is a very similar situation elsewhere also in Savitri. 64.11. So Shyamandu can be very clever. He can make you dance on the verse. 64.11. You want me to project on that? Okay. See here. Of such fierce stuff was made up life's long hell. Life's hell he is describing, and he has described of what kind of material is there in life's hell. These were the threads of the dark spider's web. Now whether the spider is dark or the web is dark.
The web is dark. The whole web is dark.
Huh? Whether the spider is dark or the web is dark. A good spider is weaving a dark web, or the dark web, or the spider is weaving, or the web itself is dark by the spider. So this is very puzzling kind of a
Dark web. The spider.
dark spider's web. So it is the dark applies to whom? To the spider or to the web?
The web.
Why?
Dark web and the spiders are there.
No. No. Yeah, there are dark spiders, there are red spiders, there are the different kind of spiders. Yeah, and they can view.
They eat your prey.
Red spider, you have seen red spider? My God, it's very frightening. I have seen red spider. See, they have got kind of an occult depth, you see, when you say. Dark spider's web. So whether it is a spider is dark or the web is dark. I will say it is the spider which is dark. Web is immaterial. The occult element, the occult action is in the spider, not in the web. Same thing here. It is body. A moment of a secret body's sleep, her trance knew not of sun or earth or world. No, not knew not of sun or earth or world. This is a clear echo of the Upanishadic line. In the Upanishad they say, there the sun shines not, nor the moon, nor the stars. It is that kind of a construction. There the sun. Let me see what is the exact sentence here. There the sun cannot shine, and the moon has no luster. All the stars are blind. In that you see. Her trance knew not of sun or earth or world. It is clearly that kind of an echo, you see. Constant. Inspiration. Thought, time and death were absent from her grasp. Because there is nothing now, finished, claim this one. She knew not self, who is Atman, who is nothing, forget about it. Who is Savitri then? All was a violent, everything is now, what is remaining is only the violent ocean of a will. Sankalpa, yes, I must go and do this thing. That's all. Rest is all immaterial. Nothing counts, nothing remains, nothing remains, nothing remains. That is the Sankalpa now. Ocean of a will, and see the vastness. Ocean is not a sea, it is an ocean. It is not only vast, but also deep. Ocean has a depth. You see. Was a violent ocean of a will, where lived captive to an immense caress, possessed in a supreme identity, her aim, joy, origin, Satyavan alone. That is all matters for her. That is the supreme identity. Supreme identity. Him alone. He is her aim, he is her joy, he is the source of her existence, of her being. Satyavan alone, none else. That only means that Satyavan himself is the supreme God, you see, for her. In fact, he says, her sovereign, you see, her sovereign, present inner being's core. So he is there, always seated here. He cannot escape from here. Yama may take, but from here. He beat there like a rhythmic heart. So although he is dead, still he is beating there. He beat there like a rhythmic heart. Herself, but different still, one loved, enveloped, clasped, a treasure saved from the collapse of space. So everything has collapsed here now, time is terminated, space is not there, but that is treasure still. That cannot go away at all, you see. Around him, nameless, infinite, she surged. So she is there and she is like an ocean surge, she is surrounding him. Her spirit fulfilled in his spirit, rich with all time, whether it is past, whether it is present, whether it is future, Trikala, whatever is there, everything is now filled by his presence only, his presence only. Her spirit fulfilled in his spirit, rich with all time, as if love's deathless moment had been found. A pearl within eternity's white shell. Until now there was the human aspect of it, gone. It is now the deathless moment. Now it is the deathless moment. The human aspect was there, gone. Because Savitri is no more human now. All those things have gone away. It is a pure spirit, flaming spirit, and that is deathless. And so that is the contribution of death. Savitri had discovered the deathless moment because her lover is now in the possession of the enemy, of Yama, of death. And then he says, a pearl within eternity's white shell, a pearl, that is Satyavan. The white shell of eternity is there. Moti, it is there, you see, pearl. Within eternity's white shell, then out of the engulfing sea of trance, her mind rose drenched to light streaming with you. So her mind is coming and the colors are flowing down, streaming, colors are coming down constantly, and streaming with hues of vision, and awake once more to time, return to shape the lineaments of things, and lives in borders of the scene, and live in the borders of the scene and known. Onward, the three still moved in her soul scene. Onward, three. Obviously, the spirit of Satyavan, behind him, death, behind them, Savitri. Three moved. But where? In a soul scene. The whole thing is seen as if it is happening within her. In her soul, all these things, it is not in the occult void. Actually, the real thing is, the whole thing is happening in the occult void. The action is in the occult void, the physical void, the reality of the whole thing, Satyavan, Yama, etc., they are not in her soul. They are actually in the physical, so to say, physical space of the occult in which these things are happening here. But Savitri sees that as if it is happening within her soul. Within her soul. That is a kind of an identity which she has with the whole thing now. See. Her soul, as if pacing through fragments of a dream, she seemed to travel on a vision, the shape. So she has become now a vision and she is traveling like a vision. Imagining other muses like herself, by them imagined in the lonely sleep. So the way Savitri is seeing in her soul scene, possibly others are also seeing similar things. Maybe Satyavan is also seeing in the same manner. Maybe Yama also is seeing in the same manner. Maybe Mother Nature also, they are also seeing things in their manner. But Savitri sees that, no, this is not in the occult space. It is happening within my soul. It is so close, so intimate, so tangible to her that it cannot be separated from her.
She has become the universal mother's.
No. I mean, see, everybody can imagine this scene. I can also imagine well, this is Satyavan spirit, this is Yama, this is this. I can imagine, I can create a scene myself. You see. So it is, she says that no, in the case of Savitri, it is happening within her soul itself, you see. By them, imagine them, you see, he says them, all those people which are there, you see. Ungrasped, unreal, yet familiar, old, like clefts of unsubstantial memory. So we imagine, we dream, therefore they are ungrasped, they are unreal. The reality is in the occult, Yama is there, Satyavan spirit is there, Savitri is also there in the reality. But the whole thing, as if because it is imagined, is seen in a soul, it looks a different thing. Seen, softened, traversed, never lived in. So this is what happens. You can always imagine this is what is happening, you see. But you will never live that. When Savitri is living that thing now, you see. You see, I mean, anybody can imagine, I go to England, I go to America, or whatever it is, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, you see, and describe the entire thing like that, you see. But you are never living it. Here she is living that thing, you see. Scenes often traversed, never lived in, let past her unheeding to forgotten goal. In voiceless regions, they were travel, voiceless region, nobody speaking there, all silent, dumb, mute, you see. They were travelers alone in a new world where souls were not, that is the void, you see. But only living moods. A strange, hushed, weird country was around them. Strange, vast skies above, a doubting space, were dreaming of this lived within themselves their own unchanged idea. So now the journey is going on, now he is going to describe the landscape, the country there is seen. He has already seen weird country. Strange. Actually, the shades of weird are very beautiful. Let me see that. Weird, odd, or strange, or unusual. So, unusual country, odd country, strange country. It can also mean preternatural or supernatural. Weird, preternatural or supernatural, you see. It is the depth of occult, basically. A strange, hushed, weird country was round them. Strange, vast. In fact, he has explained the word of the meaning of weird as strange. The dictionary is already there, you see. Vast skies above, a doubting space where dreaming objects lived within themselves their own unchanged idea. Weird were the grasses. Now the whole that black void. So there are landscapes. Weird were the glasses. Weird the treeless plain. Weird ran the road which life fear, hastening towards that of which it has most terror. So now the road itself has a fear, and it is hastening towards that. What a simile! Like fear hastening towards that of which it has most terror. Fear hastening. You see, this is simile. Road is likened to fear. Treeless plain, weird ran the road. What is that road? Fear itself. So as it is a kind of fear, of scare. Phantasmal pass, phantasmal between pillared conscious rocks, somber and high, gates brooding, whose stone thoughts lost their hues and beyond enchant night. Enigma of the inconscient sculptural sleep. Pardon me?
So they're entering inconscient.
You want to say something?
Inconscient they're entering.
Yeah, inconscient sculptural, and he says enigma, this is the inconscient, that is the strangeness of the whole thing. In enigma of the inconscient sculptural sleep. You see? So the whole thing is a kind of a sculpture made by Mr. Inconscience.
But to the enter his conscious,
She is a sculptor
to the enter
who has made this scene, which is strange, weird, etc., etc., all that scene is there. Weird with the grasses, weird and the road, fear, etc., etc. All these things sculpted by whom? By Monsieur Inconscience, you see.
so they are now in the inconscious. They are now in the
No. What she is seeing here, who has created that thing?
inconscious.
Inconscious, that's what he's saying.
But they are not in the inconscious. Only something
Inconscious
has been
is
created by-
inconscious is a deeper, more than that.
So that just has been created by
Yeah. Sculptural sleeve, symbols of the approach of darkness, old and monuments of a titanic rain, opening to depths like dumb, appalling jaws that wait a traveller down a haunted path, attracted to a mystery, the slave, attracted to a mystery, the slave. Now this is the, so he is giving the image of the road, and the road itself is a fear, and there is a sphinx sitting there, and if you can manage to cross the sphinx, it's okay, otherwise the sphinx will swallow you up. The fear will gulp you up, you see. This is a reference to Oedipus.
Not really.
Yeah. Traveller down a haunted path, attracted to a mystery, the slave. That is what she does. She will put a riddle, if you cannot answer it, she will swallow you up. They walked across her road, her Savitri, cruel and still, sentinel they stood of dumb necessity. So this has to happen. He is not to speak. And they are guarding that necessity. Mute heads of vigilant and sullen gloom, carved muzzle of a dim, enormous world. So all this is what, after all, is a muzzle, the front face of an animal, the horse or dog's front. That is a muzzle. You see. Mute heads, you see, it's muzzle and heads, he's thinking of. Vigilant and sullen gloom, carved of a dim, enormous world. Then, to that chill, sheer, heavy line arrived, where his feet touched the shadowy march's brink. Turning, arrested, luminous Satyavan looked back with his wonderful eyes at Savitri. So he is trying to look back, but Yama is there. He is trying to. Arrested, luminous Satyavan looked back with his wonderful eyes. See, because I luminous Satyavan, my dear, my beloved, she is there following me, but I am helpless. You see. But Satyavan is trying to, but death pealed forth with a vast abysmal cry. O mortal, that is Savitri. O mortal, turn back to the transient kind. Anityam, transient. Go back. You are not here. You cannot. Aspire not to accompany death to his home. As if thy breath could live where time must die. If time itself dies in the land of death, how can your breath survive there? Don't dare that kind of a thing. So time must die in the world. I mean, there is no time at all in the kingdom of death. Time, movement, of going from place to place, of even progress, it is all stopped. Time here stopped means absolutely no progress at all. You are what you are, that's all. You cannot make any further advance. Where time must die. So that is the action, that is the role of Yama, of death. To cut off time completely, your progress, your further prospect. As if time dies, then where is the question of your breath? Your breath means you want to progress. It cannot. Think not thy mind-born passion strength from heaven to uplift the spirit from its earthly base, and breaking out from the material cage, you have come out of your material cage, to avoid the weight of dream and groundless knot, abide the feet of dream in groundless knot. How can you move here? Your feet you are dreaming here in the sleep. How can you move here at all? And bear thee through the pathless infinite. Pathless infinite, that is his void, the somber void. How can you? Now, feet of dream is a very beautiful phrase. You are dreaming that it can happen. This phrase appears number of times in a different context. I will not go through them. But see, we have got here in Savitri, feet of thought. He is talking of feet of thought. You walk with the feet of thought. Feet of hurrying dreams in another place. Feet of truth. Feet of God. You walk with the feet of God. Feet of the hour. Hour also has feet. It's walking. Yeah. Feet of wind and fire. Feet of wind and fire. Feet of passing gods. White feet of sound. Sound has feet. And the feet of sound are white. White feet of sound. Feet are the immortal, the way the gods walk. But these gods cannot touch the earth. You see, they will be above. Feet of the immortal. Feet of time. Then feet of stone, heavy laden. Feet of gods. Feet of man. Feet of dream. This is what we got here. Feet of love. That is the most beautiful thing which you can walk. Feet of love. 137.96. Feet of love, 137.96. It will come shortly. Then feet of exquisite desires. You have got beautiful desires, happy desires, and they walk. Only in human limits man lives safe. You want to get out of the human conditions, you will not be safe. You are killing yourself, you are committing suicide. Go back in human form and live there. Only in human limits man lives safe. Now that is the gospel of death. Basically that is the gospel of death. Trust not the unreal lords of time, immortal deeming this image of thyself, which they have built on a dream's floating ground. Let not the dreadful goddess move thy soul. Dreadful goddess move thy soul.
What is the dreadful goddess?
Yeah. See,
Who is she?
who is she?
Yeah.
She is dreadful.
Yeah, but who? What name does she have?
He is not, Yama would not utter her name.
So there is a him and a her.
You see, the moment he utters her name, she will kill him. The power of her name is such that he cannot exist. So he would not name her, you see.
But it's female.
Who? Well, you know the story behind that. See, on this particular day, when Satyavan is to die, Savitri gets up early in the morning, well before the sunrise, prepares herself, gets ready, and then worships the goddess carved on a stone by Satyavan near her hermitage. Yama from above is watching all that thing. He is watching all that thing from above. That Savitri has got up, now she is going to this goddess, he is worshipping her, and naturally that goddess will give all the help she wants for her work. You see, that goddess, that is the image of Durga, which is carved by Yama on the stone. Durga. So, that dreadful goddess is that Durga to whom Savitri had offered worship in the morning before she left the forest, left for the forest.
Yama is afraid of
Yeah, he is watching everything what is happening here below. You see, he is prepared. He is very watchful. Let not a dreadful goddess move thy soul. You think that she will help you in all that. Don't go. You cannot. You are to enlarge the vehement trespass into world, where it shall perish like a helpless thought. What are you here? It will go away like a thought which has no existence, no power. Know the cold tombstones of thy hopes in life. What is real the value, what is the weight of thing, you know that. Don't dream, don't imagine, don't be under the false impression that that dreadful goddess will help you. Sorry, she is not going to help you at all, you see. Cold tombstones. Tombstones. Stones. See, that is Shivandu. He will stress the foods, he will say dark spider's web, he will say secret bodies, sleep, all those things. See. Stone. Stone is the weight which was current in Europe a few centuries ago. Everything was weighed in terms of stones. One stone is roughly 14 pounds. Is that right? One stone was 14 pounds. 14 point or 6.35 kg. Yeah, 6.35 kg. So she has given me a stone of mangoes. You see? So this is the kind of weight you are using for this thing, foolish girl. You don't understand things at all, you see. Know the cold tombstones of thy hopes. What are your hopes? What are your longings? What weight they have? Nothing. Stones. And vainly with the ideas borrowed might, you have certain ideas only, but not real ideas. Dare not to outstep man's bound and measured force. Measured force that goes with stone. Ignorant and stumbling in brief boundaries pent, you are confined like an animal in a pent house. Live there in that boundary. Boundaries pent. He crowns himself, he, of course, man here. Man and crown, he. He crowns himself the world's mock sovereign. He thinks that he is the sovereign, he is the king. But he is tormenting nature with the words of mind. You are thinking like that, you see. O sleeper, dreaming of divinity. O sleeper, that is Savitri. You are dreaming of divinity. The divine will come and help you, that dreadful goddess will come and help you. I am sorry. I am the master. I am the Lord. I am all powerful. Nothing is going to help you at all. Wake trembling with the indifferent silences in which die few weak cords of being die. Ultimately, after all, what are you made of? Weak cords. They are also going to snap away tomorrow, you see. Impermanent creatures, all men, this mankind. Sorrowful foam of time, your transient loves bind not the eternal God. You are loving Satyavan, but what is that love? It's a transient love. It is not going to bind the gods at all, you see. Now he says here again, impermanent creatures, impermanent, that is the reference to Buddha's permanent. Permanent Buddha. You are an impermanent fellow. Sorrowful foam, sorrowful and transient. Sorrowful and transient. This is directly the translation of the Gita's phrase. Anityam asukham. Anityam asukham. Sorrowful. Anityam asukham. Form of time. This is what you are. You are a transient creature. You are a sorrowful creature. Asukham. Anityam, transient. Love, bind not the eternal God. So that cannot be the eternal, the immortals at all. The dread voice ebbed in the consenting hush. So he has stopped now. He has dismissed Savitri. The dread voice ebbed in the consenting hush. Consenting, the whole black void is agreeing with what Yama is saying. Yeah, yes. Yes, you're right, you see. which seemed to close upon it wide, intense, a wordless sanction from the joys of night, from the jaws of night. So what Yama was saying has the sanction, the authority of night. So there is the consent from, yes, well done, Yama. What you have said to Savitri is perfectly correct. Savitri has no business to make this trespass. She cannot enter into this world. A wordless sanction. Night did not speak, but she has approved. My blessings are there for you. The woman answered not. Savitri answered not. Her high, nude soul stripped of the girdle of mortality. So everything has gone away now from mortality. Against fixed destiny and the grooves of law stood up in sheer will and primal force. Sheer will, a primal force. She did not answer. She is standing now in her complete primal force to meet the challenge. And then, how? Still like a statue on its pedestal. The statue is always immobile, firm, unmoving. Still like a statue on its pedestal, lone in the silence and to vastness bared. Against midnight's dumb abysses piled in front. So the statue is there in the night, the whole night is there all around piling. The statue is not affected at all by that. It is not affected. A column shaft of fire and light. She rose. The flaming spirit. Now she is a shaft of fire and light. She did not answer at all. Like a statue on its pedestal, lone in the silence and vastness bared, against midnight's dumb abysses piled in front, a column shaft of fire and light, she rose. Now next is going to happen, you see. Yeah. So he has brought us into the void. This first canto is describing how Satyavan died, how this happened, how that happened, that happened. Now this is the void, this is the issue. And so the void is described here. Now further things will keep on happening.
Does it matter how far you go into the void? Does it become more difficult to return, or does it not matter?
She is now not worried at all. The dreadful goddess is there with her to take care of her.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go now further, is it more further away? Is it then more difficult to return, or does it not?
No. Now she is standing as a column of fire and light.
But it doesn't matter where she goes.
Nothing
from.
matters now. She is now her will. He says here, her will, a primal force, her determination, her firmness. That itself is the column now. That is her sankalpa is there. I will meet.
That's what I think. If that takes Satyavan and quickly
No.
goes away with him, he cannot.
No, it's not like that. No, it's not like that. This man is very firm, very strong. He is a rock. He cannot be dismissed like that. Across the paths of divine event, the huge foreboding mind of night. His weight is 1 million stones. The weight of Yama is 1 million stones. Is that right?
Could be, yeah.
Could be, yeah.